order. And I'm going to ask Trustee Abraham if she would call to order the Education and Planning meeting.
Yep. Call to order at 4:30, March 6th, 2024. First thing on the agenda is the review of the February 7th, 2024 minutes. Any questions, comments, concerns, edits to the minutes? Okay. Next, we have an enrollment report. Dr. Base.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have the enrollment report in your packet, and I will update you on numbers as of this past Friday, March 1st. So overall, headcount enrollment excluding Gemini is at 7.7% increase, and FTE is at 9% increase. When looking at Gemini and non-credit state aidable, overall headcount is currently down 3.9%, and FTE is at 0.4%. So you will recall that Gemini numbers are entered manually now in terms of registrations. So that is ongoing. The registration deadline is in mid-March. Although we know we continue to receive a large number of registrations after the deadline. So in comparison to last spring, 35% of the Gemini enrollment came in after the deadline. So I'm not overly excited about this number right now. And April will have a more accurate number in terms of overall Gemini registrations. So any questions?
Any questions?
Nope.
All right, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, then we have a student success and strategic thought presentation regarding the science and technology department. Hello, Matthew Rispater. I'm sorry.
Rispater.
Okay, Rispater, thank you.
So, let's see. That's me. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Trustees and Dr. Nye and guests and fellow faculty. My name is Matt Rischbader, and I have been a member of the FLCC community now since 2009, 2010. So you may not have heard my name or seen my face. I actually, before joining, I'm an architect, licensed architect, and I was working at a small structural engineering firm, and we designed the structure for the Victor Campus Center. And just as that opened in 2010 in the spring, I took on an adjunct role there, and I've been there since. In 2015, I came on as full-time faculty and articulated the architectural technology program from what was mechanical and architectural technologies. And I'm also coordinating the overall technology program. So if you haven't seen me, that's because I'm typically in Victor with my students at the time being, but I'll be spending more and more time, I think, at main campuses as time rolls on. So at Victor, we house primarily 3 full-time programs: the engineering science, smart systems technology, and of course, architectural technology. And just to give you a brief overview, so currently at Victor Campus Center, though we've already had some discussions and we're looking forward to seeing what happens in the future, but to give you a sense of what we're there for and the purpose of that location, it was a strategic location, most primarily for the smart systems technology, which was information control technology, ICT program at the time, and mechanical technology, where New York State would give tax benefits for companies that located within adjacency to a community college in hopes to have students engage in those companies and the companies engage in students and in the school. So we're placed in what is zoned as light industrial, which I know from working on the building. And just around the corner, there are a myriad of companies, many of which Salim and Sam in particular have had some work with. In addition to the 3 primary programs, we also have foundations in advanced manufacturing, networking, cybersecurity, and at Victor every summer since 2016, we've had what was STEM, but they added an A in there for art, and I like to think for architecture. We've had a camp there each year since 2016 that we host at Victor, and most of the faculty are there every year as well. So we'll start off with engineering science. And engineering science is a degree that has actually been around since the late 1970s. And it's one of the earliest programs that's been established at FLCC. And to highlight this just a little bit, it's an AS degree, which primarily means that after completing the program at FLCC, students will transfer into a 4-year degree. And Salim Arachi, by the way, Victor, I'm not sure if it's something in the water, but I've known Salim now for almost 15 years, and Sam. They tend to look younger year after year, where I'm doubling. My hair is almost completely gone. It's white. They're getting darker hair, and Salim in particular is getting more and more fit every time I see him. But something's going on in Victor that I'm afraid. I mean, for me, maybe it'll be better to be on there. It's not working for me. But this is Dr. Arachi, who oversees the program and has for quite some time. I'll let him share the exact number of years, but it's been quite a few. So the particular intention for this program is to get students into the 4-year degree. This is a degree which, again, primarily focuses on students transferring and follows guidelines from the New York State 2-Year Engineering Science Association, the TYESA, and it has 42 and 4-year members to that school, and Salim works with those groups. Here is a graph that Salim put together for this meeting. And on the side, we can see the number of students, which starts at 0. And if we went back just a few years, we wouldn't need to go above 60 or 70 students. But if you notice a very sharp spike upwards from the COVID time where we had some relative lows from the years prior, a huge spike upwards. And that spike occurred shortly after COVID when Salim made changes to the program and ultimately reached out to online students. And that reaching out to online students, offering online programs and high-flex programs, which are fantastic and so helpful for students who learn in different ways. And we can see that the full-time enrollment and total enrollment have gone up just magnificently since that time. And the hope is it will ebb out and slowly go up from there. So you can see there's definitely a need for the way this is being presented to students currently. And students who transfer, there's several universities, just a few to mention. In particular, RIT is a major program that students transfer, so it's 2 years here, 2 years at these other institutions. You'll recognize all of them: University of Buffalo, Binghamton, Clarkson, and of course, U of R. And so this would be transfer universities, and then once students graduate from those universities, some of our students have gone on to Lockheed Martin, SpaceX, NASA, and other very well-known and distinguished companies. Here's and you can look, everybody looks younger. I look emaciated. You know, I look like I'm borrowing my dad's shirt and tie. But everything else looks fantastic. And I mean, look at this guy and Sam over there. So this was sort of a dinner from a few years back. There's been one thing I think you can tell from a program is when students who have already graduated come back, and they don't have to. There's no obligation for them to, but they choose to. I think with all of our programs, we have a Rolodex of students that we can call at will. And if we don't, you don't see those students, it's just because we haven't called them. So this was a small meeting, well, relatively small. It's gotten larger and larger. And every year now, Salim hosts a meeting. Initially, it was for all the programs, but primarily this one was for the ESC alumni. And this is just a quick picture we took. And they share with each other, make connections. It's just a fantastic opportunity to work with those previous students who are all going on to great things. And our current students get to learn from those students. So beyond all that the ESC program does, in particular ESC and SST, those students work together and have the opportunity to work in an engineering technology club where they work on a drone. They basically design the drone, program the drone. UAV is probably a more appropriate term for that, but you know, last two competitions, 2022 and 2023, they actually won first place, which was a source of great pride. And I've been fortunate enough to be at campus when the students come back, and it's really a pretty exceptional thing. So here's an example of one of the drones that they built from scratch, and Josh Bell is a huge part of that club. Basically, he coordinates the club for us. All right, so on to smart systems technologies. So smart system technology actually came from what was the instrumentation control technology, ICT program, which I'm sure everyone's heard of. And so this added additional aspects onto that, including smart manufacturing, Industry 4.0 skills, and learning modules from clean energy, smart manufacturing innovations. And that institute is one of 17 manufacturing USA institutes. And with these changes, they've seen an enrollment of 50% increase. And this has just been since 2021. And it was nice to see with this, in particular, being an architect, when we talk about technology with architecture, our core concepts of theory don't change much. But around me, getting to see the technology being updated constantly, even going so far as to change the whole program name and focus, increasing the focus to what's actually happening in the industry. And this program is led by Dr. Samantha. If you don't know Sam, I'd be surprised. Sam is everywhere all the time and fantastic. And the fact that this has been updated is a testament to all the work that Sam does and the outreach that he has in the community, in particular, the various corporations that are in the area and beyond the area. So one of the greatest parts of the program that Sam's put together is the co-op, the opportunity for students to meet and work at adjacent companies. And again, here's one of the benefits of a community college with slightly smaller sized classes. He has fashioned the program in such a way that students can work full time and go to school and get their degree. And when students have that opportunity to make a change in the workplace and really impress the people that they're working for, jobs typically result from that quite commonly. So if you ever had anything from Sam and you flip that over, which I think he handed out something earlier, usually there's a list of companies that I need a magnifying glass often to read. And that's, again, a testament to all the communication that he does and the work in coordinating this program. So his students work with over 50 business partners, and these 50 business partners end up being often places for the students to work and places for co-ops to occur. Similar to Salim's program, much of Sam's classes are high flex and online, which again gives the opportunity for students to have more flexibility to accommodate those working schedules, which anybody who's tried to go to school and to work at the same time knows the challenges that students face with that. And as I mentioned, many of these opportunities lead to jobs that are secured prior to graduation. And that's a pretty fantastic thing to be able to offer to students. Little tidbits of information I'm going to reference back because I don't have all these memorized. But 98% of businesses fall into what's called small medium enterprises, SMEs. And they employ half of the workforce that we have in the United States. And these businesses are always looking for candidates. And anybody who's worked in a company that hires, it's a lot of work. First of all, it's challenging to hire anyone. And to hire the right person is more challenging. And then to hire someone who has all the qualifications and skills they say they have. One of the benefits of this opportunity that students have is they're trained in the workforce already in school. And we know on-the-job training it's just different than what you learn in the classroom. And he's able to give students both of those opportunities. So the candidates who go through the program often are known as unicorns, which simply is the rare student or candidate who has the knowledge and has the experience together at the same time for starting positions at a company. So the co-ops that are a part of the program, students have about 270 work hours in, and these students are ripe for the picking. So this being an AAS program, it means students can transfer, but they're really set up to go directly into the workforce. And additionally, the SST program has helped underemployed liberal arts students fall into careers. And Sam is an exceptional motivator for students. Almost anyone who comes through the door at Victor, if they don't have a program in mind, they're not quite sure, they have a kind face there offering them, a career in manufacturing. And even some of my students have come back and said, you know what, I was talking to Sam, and those are words you don't want to hear at the coordinator room. So some of the 50 plus established partners that Sam has put together have resulted in an economic impact from students from FLCC of over $100 million. And these students get to visit 12 out of the 50 plus programs, high-tech business programs. And a few of these, I'll just mention a couple of them. You're probably familiar with most of them. Bausch & Lomb, of course, a very important company for our location. One of my favorite, construction robotics. This is a robotic machine that lays bricks. So it picks up a brick, it trusses it with mortar, it sets it in place, and it will do multi-story buildings in a fraction of the time. And the beauty of these companies is they're not taking people out of the workforce. They're adding life to the people, years to the people's lives, because they're not breaking their bodies, but just as many people are required to work the machine. It's just much faster, much more efficient and precise. So my students also take field trips there every year. New Scale Technology, that's right out of Victor, and Redcom Laboratories. We see some places, Gallo Winery in Canandaigua. So lots of opportunities for students nearby to work and to have school adjacent. And these are just a few graduates. Garrett Lester from the SST program of 23, now at RIT. Justin Castronovo from 2019. He's done a few talks at FLCC for students and faculty to come and listen. He is at the Naval Sea Systems Command and the shipyard in Philadelphia, and he works on land-based missile defense, which is exciting. It's exciting for me as a faculty, but exciting for students too to hear about these great opportunities. And then Kevin Stotler, who is at Alfred State. So he graduated in 2020 and then Alfred State in 2023. Also a focused student. And that brings us to my program. So at the end, architectural technology. So we've gone through a few different names. I mentioned I started full-time in 2015 and split the program into mechanical technology and architectural technology. We think we're architectural technology and building sciences, a little wordy. So now we're architectural technology. And this is an AAS degree, but we serve several different groups. Now, looking at community colleges in New York State, there's only 4 that offer architectural technology in the entire state. So we're one of those 4. Our nearest college is in Buffalo, and that's Erie. There is one in Oswego, but it's not architectural technology, it's architectural design, and they don't have the same transfer numbers that you would expect from a community college. So no one's quite sure what's happening there, but otherwise we have to go all the way up by New York for Dutchess. That's the next closest program. So we serve 3 groups of students. The first group of students are ones who want to go into a professional degree. And this is for all the states in the United States. If you want to become a licensed architect, you need a 5-year degree. It's a professional degree. You have a whole year of thesis at the end. And the way it's associated, it's actually higher than a master's level for architecture. A master's level of architecture, you have 3 years of architectural training after a 4-year degree. But a 5-year professional bachelor degree, you have 5 years of architectural training, so almost twice as much. So candidates who come in with a bachelor degree are actually held to a higher level than with a master's. There's not much to do after a master's, or excuse me, after a bachelor's, unless you're going to go in for a doctorate. That's really the next logical step. There is a master's level too, but it's being phased out. So we have a lot of students who do that. We're very fortunate to have Alfred State next door. They recently have their NAAB, which is an accreditation board for architects, and they have a professional 5-year program. And I'm making some changes being proposed now with curriculum and assessment to have a seamless transfer from here to Alfred, 2 years here, 3 years there. If that's successful, it will be likely the only community college to 5-year program with a professional degree in the United States. There's other 2-year from other colleges, or 2 years in one college to 3 years in another college, but from a community college to a full program. And we've been working together for years to set this up, and we're getting to the final stages, which is very exciting. Currently, it's 2 and 3 plus a few classes, but we're almost there. We also serve students who are going directly into the workforce. And to parry onto that, which I'll mention a little bit, is you can, in New York State and several other states, get a license with only a 2-year degree in architecture. So with a 5-year degree, you practice for about 4 or 5 years, and then you can take your licensing exam. With a 2-year degree, you practice for 7 or 8 years under a licensed architect, and then you can take your licensing exam. So that's another group that we work with. And then students who want to go into associated career, landscape architecture, construction management, civil engineering, structural engineering, those associated programs. The other group, which is kind of a fourth, is I almost every year have one student who already has their bachelor degree in something. And they come here to get the skills they need and the confidence they need and put a portfolio together, which is required for most professional institutions, to go on to get their master's in architecture. So almost every year, I've had about 7 or 8 students do that. And I'll mention that again in just a minute. Here's just a few works from one student who graduated about 2 years ago. And that's a rendering in the background. It looks real, but it's actually a rendering of this model that he made by hand. So I kind of already mentioned that the history of what we're doing. So when I did split the programs, I also put together 2 history classes and a professional practice class, which teaches architectural law and construction law. And the 2 history classes, one spans from prehistory to the Industrial Revolution. We say 1880 in all the institutions, but it's the Industrial Revolution and then Industrial Revolution to modern times. And the goal for our students when they come out of their second semester is that they'll have a proficiency in our main programs, AutoCAD and Revit. That's what everyone in the industry for the most part uses. And so after the second semester, students can go directly into the workforce and often do. So I set up my classes. So each group, first year and second year, have 2 days of classes, 3 days off, which allows them to hopefully set up a work schedule. So I mentioned about the traditional path being the 5-year professional Bachelor of Architecture. And again, the great opportunity for students to have a 2-year degree. And we have several students, though most of these are before I started full-time, just 2 or 3 since I started, who graduate with a 2-year degree and go on to take their licensing exam. I actually have a student who's starting next semester who's come from Brazil. In Brazil, when you graduate college, they give you a license. There's no test. So she came here, she wants to get a license. They said, you need a degree from here to get that. So she's had work time. She's going to come here for a 2-year degree and then go on, which I'm excited to have somebody who's already practicing. It's great to have these experienced students on hand. So in our department, besides the typical visits to architectural firms and such, we visit Louis Kahn, who's one of my favorite American, I think the greatest American architect. He has a Unitarian church in Rochester. There's also a Frank Lloyd Wright house in Rochester. If you've seen it, there was a great little documentary on it. I just went to the front door, knocked on the door, introduced myself, and now we do field trips there regularly. And then we go to Buffalo for the Martin House, another pretty popular place. Richardson's Buffalo State Asylum for the Insane. It's a classic name. It's actually a state university now. Fortunately, they might keep some of us when we visit. The Prudential Building. And then prior to COVID, we haven't had the opportunity in the last 2 years, but there's a picture on the right of my students. We go to New York City for a 3-day weekend and do some tours and spend some time together there. Students who have graduated from the program, you might recognize some of these names. They've done work here and many other schools adjacent: Hunt Architects, Bergman, Hanlon, Lavella, SCI, Plan Architects, among others. And then our transfer group, many students to Alfred, Rensselaer, City College of New York, which is a great school in New York City, also kind of part of the SUNY CUNY system, and with all the other great colleges in New York, a lot of faculty, after years of stress from having to do writings and research, they stepped down to community college and actually to state college, and it's been a great transfer opportunity. And then Syracuse University, which is my alma mater, which is third in the nation currently. Got some students there, and then students who have gone on to their master's. We have students in both Columbia and Cornell. That's it, and I think that basically sums it up. So thank you for your time. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them. Meanwhile, we have Sam with us, Salim, and Jen, who coordinates everything for us in science and technology, if we can answer any questions.
Thank you so much. This was new for me, so
Great.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, go.
These are demanding majors. What's the student success like? And I don't need exact numbers, but approximately how good is the student success, and what are the common barriers to student success? And student success broadly is they either get a job or they get a degree or they get a transfer. And
So in the architecture profession in particular, or?
in general, with all three.
Okay, well, I'll speak to mine very briefly. I would say we have about 60 to 70% of students who end up transferring or going into the workforce. Probably have about 25 to 30% of students who change majors, usually after the first semester. Those numbers have been higher since COVID. It's the thing with open enrollment. It sounds like fun, but it is very demanding. Our studios are 3-hour studios, and usually students are there for 6 to 12 hours each week on their own time outside of class time. It's that, and they're working at home.
Can I chime in? I'm Jennifer Carney, and I'm the Chair of Science and Technology. Our technology programs are all small, but have all grown in size in the last few years. And in particular, engineering is not small anymore. It's quite large now. It's one of our top 10 majors at the college now. It's, as you saw earlier, it's almost doubled in size since we started offering engineering online. With that, though, has come what you might predict, which is that we have seen that there's a significant number of students, particularly in that online group, who register and get into their first semester of engineering and find out that they're underprepared or that it's more than they expected. And actually, because of that, our department has proposed, we're crossing our fingers, we're hoping for, we proposed a support position as part of the strategic plan grant opportunities, because in particular with the ending of the SUNY online support, we're seeing the need for support for those online engineering students to either retain them within the engineering program or counsel them. Maybe for some of them might be better suited in the architecture or SST program. So we are actually trying to aim directly at that population that seems to be struggling. Salim might be able to chime in with the numbers on that. I don't know the numbers on what our retention is.
Hello, everyone. This is Salim Arachi, and coordinator of the engineering science program. And I'm coordinating the program. Actually, this is my 37th year at the college. And
Wow.
the program actually has grown quite a bit in the last couple of years. But the question was as actually a good question, the success rate. And that is, I mean, we're not any different than the national numbers. And my best guess is about, I mean, and that would be a good number, actually, around 50% of the students actually who make it onto four-year schools. And probably that number is even slightly smaller. With the online group, we still have to see the results because this is just the first 2 years right now, and we get a mixture of students. Some of them are they actually take the opportunity because they're full-time, they have full-time jobs and so on, but seeing the online possibility, they are excellent, well-dedicated students and they do a great job. And there's some that they're just kind of quite not sure what to do and how to approach it. So it's still we're learning and understanding. So a support to these students would be actually a great help. And I'm basically just one person trying to coordinate, all of this. Now we have over 100 students, and but yeah, so I'm happy to answer if you have further questions.
I would like to add this. Historically, over the years, 1 or 2 students from engineering science program who found program to be challenging for whatever reason, they have transferred into our SSD program, and they have been very successful. Part of the reason is related to a kind of a joke which says some person who immigrated from one country to another country, they increase the average IQ of both countries. So person who transfers from engineering science program to SST program, they increase the math competency for both programs. In any case, so they have much more successful than typical SST students, and they are placed in workplace right away. Businesses really appreciate the skills they bring, talents they bring. With our SST program, we have had close to 100% job placement rate. There have been few exceptions before graduation, I mean. One of them is that some students are under 18. We have a P-type program, which is a school in Newark, co-located with Newark Campus Center. They start taking courses in our program early on. So by the time they come to Victor campus, some of them may not yet reach 18 years of age because they're still taking some classes in Newark at the P-type high school. And so you had a question about retention or success.
Yeah, and barriers to success.
Barriers to success. I think one of the major barriers to success for technical program is math preparedness, way to think about math. And what we have done with our program for almost a decade now, we show students how to visualize math, see math from right side of the brain, graphically, chalk and board drawing pictures, but also using Excel software and other software to help people become at home with quantitative skills, mathematical skills. And that has helped us teach them numerical calculus, which is important for control algorithms, for controlling processes. And we don't require students to take anything beyond algebra and pre-calculus. So by doing that, we have been able to enhance their ability to succeed. Nationwide, we have this problem, both from problem of engineering science, people coming into it, and only about 25% graduating with bachelor's degree nationwide. And same problem is with technical program, even after 1.5 time, meaning 6 semesters for community colleges, the graduation rate nationwide is around 25%. Our graduation rate is 3 times for 2 years. So this is something which is important for success of current nation's initiative with bringing reshoring jobs as well as doing advanced manufacturing. It is important that we increase the success of technical engineering students as well as bringing other people. So we mentioned underemployed liberal arts and humanities graduates. There was an article just a couple of days ago that 10-year study by Burning Glass and other institutions in Indiana, that 52% of nation's baccalaureates all factors, 52% are underemployed. And what I believe, and I looked at some of the numbers in this area from, say, Buffalo to Syracuse, there are close to 250,000 people who are in that category. These are liberal arts graduate, humanities graduate, they have job, they're earning, not very happy, partly because they have reached the plateau out in their career. They don't see any further opportunities. With our program, because of high flex scheduling, we're able to invite them in and say, look, we know you're a good student, you're proven yourself in college, also in workplace. We can help you get into this track without you having to quit your current job. Keep your current job through high flex, will help you transition into high paying technical job. And in almost all cases, we have been able to transition them into this job in a matter of months, not after graduation. I mean, they don't have to wait till then. So this is also something I'm advocating across the country, that underemployed liberal arts and humanities graduate is the single most hidden national resource for addressing the workforce need in the technical world.
I think Jen had her hand up. Jen.
I think the question was about barriers for students, but I also wanted to just take a moment and identify some larger barriers structurally for our programs. So for instance, our architecture program has capacity for only 12 students, and we're maxed out at that level. And that's because of the amount of studio time they need and the amount of space that we have, and the fact that we only have one professor. So if we were to expand that program, we would need more space and another professor, and those are significant barriers. In addition, engineering, as you saw in the numbers before, we now have more than 120 engineering students. We have one engineering professor. Salim teaches all of the engineering specific courses that we offer, which was fine when we had a small program. It is not fine now that we have 120 students and where they don't all come in and start in the fall, but they start sometimes in the spring or in the summer. So we're trying to run things on multiple cycles to meet this larger need. And we still have only one professor. And as he mentioned, he's worked here for 37 years. So without putting Salim on the spot about his age, he's got to be nearing retirement. And we need, succession planning. And it's true of all these programs, architecture, SST, and engineering, that they are single professor programs. And as we saw with mechanical technology, when that professor retired 2 years ago, the program ended. At that point, we discontinued the program because we were not able to fill that spot. The search to replace him failed. So we want to make sure that we don't lose any more programs like that because of losing one professor because, they reach retirement age and can't keep teaching for us forever. So those are some structural things that are upcoming that we could use some strategic thought on how we support these programs in the future and make sure that we can ensure their growth.
Donna, did you have a question? Oh, you did. Okay. I had a question, but my question was what's your strategy to attract students? But it sounds like you almost don't want to attract students because of these challenges that you have.
Maybe I'll address that first. I'm in an interesting situation post-COVID where I've had numbers we have 12 available computer spaces. And we have 13 available drafting boards. The room literally can't hold anymore. And I have that many first-year students. But I've also had semesters where there's 3 students. So we have definitely post-COVID kind of went on the low, and we've been going up since then. And the reason losing students is a challenging one. Sometimes we just have a semester where I have a lot of non-traditional students who are in their later 20s and beyond. And sometimes they start and something happens. And I had a case where 3 students had that exact situation where they had to move. And it wasn't a choice they made. It was just issues that happen. So with, one of the things that we normally do, I visit several high schools each year and do presentations to the technology programs. We host what we call Visit Fridays. They aren't quite as regular since COVID, but where we have high schools come in, now it's a little bit more random. They come to the Victor Campus Center, we get them pizza, they come around, and each faculty member will either sit with the group for 15, 20, 30 minutes. The Urban League of Rochester just visited a few weeks ago, and that was fruitful. I had a couple students who reached out since then. So we have several rounds and several avenues to go to, but it's typically done by each faculty member as an individual. Yeah, the general marketing on our website, you see our pictures come up. So Sam is a marketing machine. You know, the first time I met Sam, people think I'm joking, kind of opened up his jacket and he had just a slew of pamphlets. This was like some years ago, I'm not exaggerating, and it was, but that's the kind of hustle that we've had to do, and I was hustling last year, and as a result of extra hustle, we got a full program. Some years we can do that, and some years it doesn't work quite as well, so, yeah.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you, everyone. This was very enlightening.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Next, we have some resolutions, Professor Emeritus and a couple of administrative appointments for Dr. Ortiz.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Happy to be with you this evening. My first resolution is related to the emeritus distinction for Dr. Robert Kalba. So on behalf of the Emeritus Committee members, it is my honor and pleasure to recommend that Dr. Robert Kalba receive the title of Professor Emeritus. As you may read in his board packet, Dr. Kalba truly represents what a full-time faculty member in a comprehensive community college is and does. In his 23-year career at Finger Lakes, he worked in all areas of curriculum, student advising, recognized for instruction for both his institutional and external service. He modeled the way as a lifelong learner in terms of his professional development trajectory, as well as his participation in conferences that they said were too innumerable to mention. And we are confident that moving forward, that Dr. Kalba will continue to be an excellent ambassador for Finger Lakes Community College. So in the words of the Emeritus Committee, we believe that he is eminently deserving of the distinction of emeritus status. Thank you. I will continue. So I have two administrative appointment recommendations. And the first, I am pleased to recommend an administrative.
Laura, I hate to interrupt you. Oh, but I don't know.
Dr. Kalba.
Exactly, going to say something. He's logged in.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did not see. Would you like to share a few words?
If I can, I kind of scribbled a few comments. I wasn't sure if I was to address the committee or not. Anyway, I would first like to express my appreciation to Dr. Nye and the members of the Board of Trustees for this award. And I'm thankful, for Salim and Sam and Jennifer's support. I feel most thankful for this honor. I'd like to believe this is a reflection of my dedication shown to my students, my concerns for their success, both in their educational, career, but also in their professional career once they left FLCC. I also like to think this is a reflection of my service to the faculty at large, as reflected in many committees I served on, as well as the many committees I chaired. I especially like to thank Dr. Nye as president for the leadership, commitment to excellence, and steadfastness he has shown for the success of our students at Finger Lakes Community College. I'm thankful for the many good and dedicated faculty I was privileged to work with over my career. But mostly teaching at FLCC has allowed me to know and influence, hopefully for the better, many wonderful students that no other profession on earth could have given me, which I kind of miss. And actually, as of this year, just to kind of stay engaged and occupied, I volunteered, and it is a volunteer position. I'm working with ninth graders in the home school program at our local church. Kind of keeps me busy and learning a lot about biology, which is something I, had an interest in, as well as chemistry. Anyway, I again, just want to thank the board and Dr. Nye and, my faculty for this honor. Thank you.
Okay, I will now thank you. I will now move to recommend an administrative appointment for Mehegan Murphy, Director of Academic Advising, Career and Transfer Services, otherwise known as ACTS. Mehegan Supervisor is Sarah Whippen, Associate Vice President for Student Affairs, and Mehegan is with us this evening. So I would just like to share a few words about Mehegan and the high recommendation that came from all areas of evaluation in terms of her peer evaluators, her supervisors' words as well, and her self-evaluation. So Mehegan is recognized for her subject matter expertise, equity-minded approach, collaboration, innovation, work ethic, institutional engagement, and unrelenting focus on the student experience at FLCC. The only pause that I had while going through Mehegan's materials is that there was one section that indicated that because she is such a gifted communicator and that she has such a depth of knowledge, that she often works with the most challenging families on helping them navigate through the process. And when I came with my daughter to Finger Lakes Community College, Mehegan was assigned to us. So when I can, from firsthand experience, definitely validate that she is skilled in all of those areas. And most importantly, as a transformational leader within ACTS, she really has a focus on inclusion and making sure that she is collaborative and that her folks' opinions and voices are heard and valued. Finally, I would just like to read one of the quotes from one of her peer evaluators, because I just feel that it encompasses the interconnectedness that Mehegan demonstrates. Mehegan conducts herself in a professional manner with internal and external constituents. She is ever mindful of the critical role she plays for new and current students. In this capacity, she works tirelessly with helping students navigate our curriculum to achieve their educational goals, which requires patience, persistence, and a high degree of knowledge of our systems and policies. She is logical and takes the time to inform faculty and staff while making decisions regarding our platforms, students' interface, and curriculum. Mohegan helps her colleagues bridge the gap between business practice and systems to the benefit of students and her team. So with that, I would like to endorse my highest recommendation for approval to full administrative appointment for Mohegan. I also have the pleasure to recommend an administrative appointment for Michael Tiberio, instructional specialist for natural sciences in the Science and Technology Department, which is led by Chairperson Jennifer Carney, Professor of Biology. So Michael's departmental colleagues focus heavily throughout on his expertise that he has brought to the college from his years of experience, and also his willingness to serve as a mentor to both his colleagues and students. This was reiterated time and time again about how valuable that is and how they value Michael, not only for his daily contributions, but his generous willingness to brainstorm and ideate on how to constantly improve the teaching and learning in that area. Additionally, I think, secondly, he is applauded and admired for his high level of preparedness. He is dependable, he is willing to help, he is cognizant of fiscal responsibilities, and is always seeking to make sure that the department is supported with the materials that are needed in a timely and fiscally responsible way. So I would like to just close with a quote from a peer evaluator of Michael's. Michael's work has always been of the utmost quality. I am extremely thankful, as is the department as a whole, for Michael and his dedication to his job, the faculty, the courses, and above all, the students. I could not do what I do for our students without someone as professional and hardworking as Mike. He is truly an asset to the department and FLCC. And with that, I would like to share my highest recommendation for the approval of Michael Tiberio, instructional specialist, to full administrative appointment.
Thank you. Yep, next is the recommendation to change the dean's list. Eligibility and creation of an academic honors policy.
Thank you, Sandra. So this is a two-part resolution. As the title indicates, the first is recommendations to change the dean's list eligibility. And this was done in an effort to increase accessibility and also eligibility for part-time students, so that students can be recognized in both fall and spring semesters. And so you will see that the new language indicates that there will be eligibility for dean's list placement with 5 or more credits with a 3.5 grade point average, and all grades above passing with no W grades nor incompletes. So the recommendation is that this would be implemented and beginning this spring. Those eligible students would receive recognition for being on the dean's list as well as the letter. Secondarily, the second part is the creation of an academic honors policy. So it's basically serving as an umbrella for Dean's List eligibility, graduation honors, and also academic honors society recognitions and designations at graduation. So again, there wasn't a lot of change there other than making sure that it was all under the umbrella and also modifying the language to be more inclusive of our current honor societies and those that may be to come.
Question?
Yes.
Are these standard practices, these changes that you're making? Are they, I know they're new to us.
Well, it's been standing for a long time. It was a policy review by academic senate.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments regarding the changes? Okay. All right, thank you. And the last one, the discontinuance of the environmental conservation law enforcement degree.
Yes. So the recommendation is being presented tonight to discontinue the environmental conservation law enforcement AAS degree. And the reason for this is that as it was originally designed, it was to meet the qualifications for the two primary employment opportunities post-degree, which was the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Officer or Forest Ranger. And due to changes in the New York State Departments of Civil Service, changes to the qualifications, this degree no longer meets those qualifications. However, we are able to provide our students with the education they need to prepare them through our other degree offerings. So it's just discontinuing this degree program.
Any questions, comments, concerns? Yes.
How would a student know if a student was interested in conservation law enforcement, but didn't see that as a program? How would they know what they needed and that we had it?
Mohegan?
That's gonna make me earn it. So that's a great question. And it's been something we've been working with students on for the past few years as these changes have come about. We've actually done a lot of major changes internally to get them in a track within the program that better fits their goals and New York State's requirements. So there should be language now on our website that calls out those career paths. So students can make that choice and see that we still offer a pathway for those students. And we do a lot of that conversation internally as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Second?
Second?
Thanks, Donna. All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. We are adjourned.
Thank you very much, Sandra. All right, our next will be finance and facilities, and trustee Martin is not with us, and trustee Russell has volunteered to lead that discussion. Trustee Russell, it's up to you.
Thank you, Chair, guys. We're down pretty far in the lineup here, so I'm going to try to make this move along quickly. The depth chart doesn't get any deeper than this. I'll call the meeting to order at 5:28, and our first order of business will be to review the committee minutes from February 7th. We've all had a chance to look at them. Are there additions, corrections?
None.
Okay, let us move on. And Jason, I see you're already there, so go for it.
In front of you is the financial results as of January 31st. As you can see, tuition is a little bit higher than where we were last year. And it will continue as we push in our Gemini tuition. Those students get recognized up in revenue, and then our scholarship down in expenses. So it will net out, but that revenue number will grow in our tuition. So this is a reminder, we were forecasting 2.5% decrease in enrollment year over year. So we're up in our FTEs this year. So Our state aid, we actually received our second and third quarter payments in February and March, so that number will grow by $6 million in our, well, we'll grow $3 million in our next report, but we did get our March payment, third quarter payment. Our sponsor payments are coming next week, so that will also come in. So our revenues are looking pretty good. As far as expenses, we're on track with budget, so we are in good shape there. Again, as I say it most times, supply and expense, that is up because of our Gemini scholarships being recognized as we bill the tuition. So in past practice, it was recognized once, it was actually the fall semester in 2022 was recognized in spring and February of 23. So that number will come closer to and track similar as you do a comparison year over year. And utilities is really just the timing of when we receive the invoices. So that number will come closer to our budgeted number as we grow.
Questions for Jason?
It's clear.
Thank you for that report.
Yep.
Let's move on to the action items, the resolutions. You have, I guess Dr. Nye has the first one coming up.
This resolution is to request from the board $250,000 for professional development of faculty. And this comes about after a couple of things. Last year, the board approved, based on a request, $500,000 to help support student success in terms of mentoring, advisory, and coaching and things of that nature. But we were leaving out a very key component, and that is helping develop our faculty and help them get professional development so that they're right there at the front lines with the students in the classrooms. So it's important we provide support for that. We had a permanent, not a permanent, a grant position a number of years back, and it did not get filled. But it's important we do this, and it's also been important after having a discussion with the provost in terms of her desires to help create a holistic, equitable, and accessible type of development for our faculty to help our students succeed. So it's important. You can look at it two different ways. It comes out of either our general fund or to be budgeted after this discussion for the next 2 years. And I would like to request the board approve this to help our faculty get the support that they need.
Questions for Dr. Nye? Okay, thank you. Jason, you're up next.
The next resolution, excuse me, is to enter or to approve a contract with Global Student Recruitment Advisories. This is related to our international student recruitment, mainly focused in Vietnam, India, as well as our expansion into Canada. As we continue to get closer to that enrollment cliff, really being able to open up those options and explore other opportunities in different countries. A lot of our local private schools do that already, so it may be able to be a bridge for some of these students that may not be able to afford some of these private institutions to maybe explore FLCC to at least get a flavor for what we have to offer, and then bridge them to an RIT or other universities. So I think it's a good investment. This is a one-time to help us step forth in these markets. It would be $36,000 for a 1-year term, and I paid $3,000 per month.
Questions? Comments? Don?
Actually, it's not a question, Jason, it's just a comment.
Yeah.
At the National ACCT conference, there is a major push going forward for encouraging community colleges across the country to be more involved in global student enrollment. And so this certainly fits in very well with the trend. Thank you.
The next resolution is to approve for the next 3 years at a cost of $23,391 per year our virtual tour services. So in talking with Dr. Urbatus, this has been utilized on a daily basis by prospective students, and is a standard kind of operating procedure across all campuses across the country. So having this service allows students to be able to tour our facilities virtually and not have to necessarily step foot on campus. So we've had this for previous 3 years and has seen great success.
Questions on that resolution? Comments? Roll on, Jason.
All right. The next one is just our bid acceptance for the music studio equipment. This bid was to support the investment in outboard gear that is being utilized in studios across the country today. This is an opportunity for our students to continue to increase exposure and the use of different equipment. It also has some equipment in here for newer technology and microphones and things that will allow our students to stay a step above and to continue to learn the latest technology. So.
Questions, comments? I know the question was raised by Trustee Astles regarding whether this was a replacement of equipment or additional equipment, and I think the answer came back that this is all new
Yes.
equipment.
Yep, it's newer equipment, yes.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the informational items then.
All right. The next one is for our lawn mowing services and plant bed maintenance in the Geneva campus. This is a renewal. So this is our second and final renewal with JEL.
Any questions on the lawn mowing, bed maintenance, or even the bike transfer at this point?
No.
Okay, very good.
And then the last informational item is just the budget transfer report and help cover costs. And other things, so mainly inter-department changes.
Great, thank you very much, Jason.
Right.
And before I call for the motion to adjourn, I just want to remind everybody that next month we won't be here. We'll be there. Don will be hosting.
So I'll be hosting.
Okay, on that note, I would accept the motion for adjournment.
I'll move.
Moved by
Second.
Supervisor Bushman, second by Chair Geis. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It is 5:37, so as we have been customarily doing, we will continue with the regular meeting. And then I have something to eat while we're in executive session because there will be one with something. All right. In that case, I would like to call to order the March 6th, 2024 meeting of the Board of Trustees of Finger Lakes Community College. The first order of business will be community public comment. Is there anyone here in the room or anyone listening that would like to make a comment at this time? All right, seeing no one, I will move on to the consent agenda, the consent agenda and minutes. Will someone make a motion to accept the minutes unless they have some
I'll move.
second? All in favor? Opposed? All right, resolutions and the consent agenda. Are there any questions? Will someone please move to accept it? Thank you very much, Dan. Second, Santa. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Those will pass. I do not have any old business. New business. Does anyone have any, or excuse me, does anybody else have any old business? Question, comments? New business, question or comments? That's what I don't have any. Okay.
Nope.
All right, new business and chairs report. I have asked Trustee Astles if he would head up the nomination committee again this year. He has agreed to do so. He will be reaching out to people in the next couple of weeks. We need to put a slate of officers together to present at the May meeting And then we will vote on them in the June meeting when we have our reorganizational meeting. So, when called upon, I'm sure you will volunteer. President's report, Dr. Knight.
Okay, I'll try to be brief. First off, I'll start, one of the things that Professor Carney mentioned was instructors, and we, during the budgeting process, looked at to approve 2 new positions, and one of them is for physics and engineering. So there's some thought going into those, and we need it. So it's good that we're doing that. Wanted to highlight from our report, we did get the LPN program finally approved. Yay. Now, we already have 14 students already registered for the program right now. So
I think I heard that on
And
XX.
it's been a long time coming.
I think I heard that on XX Silent.
Yes.
And on the news.
It's on news.
Quite,
Sorry,
very
guys.
impressive.
Yeah.
Well done.
Our friend was doing a great job advertising and getting our faculty staff to get online and talk about it.
Well done.
It's
Well
good
done.
news. And also the same with the articulation agreement with Hobart and Williamson colleges. That's also a long
That's
time
great.
coming. So that's really good news and exciting. I wanted to highlight the master facilities plan briefly. You've been briefed about it. Just to remind you that coming up in May 1st, after the supervisor approve it, that you'll be looking at to approve it. And we're looking forward to that getting accomplished. There's been some exceptional work being done on that and some great projects, some that we can really make happen in the future. Also wanted to highlight the eclipse on April 8th. If the board, if you're not doing anything and you want to do something, there'll be a slate of activities. You have already seen it all. It's been in e-news and so forth, but some great events that will be going on. It's also linked to our professional day for that day. So for faculty and staff. So looking forward to a really good day. And Lenore Friend, again, mentioning Lenore has been doing a great job of orchestrating and helping plan for that. I want to thank Deborah Ortloff for the effort going on with this Board of Trustees Strategic Grant Plan. It's pretty cool. We've gone from 51 initial projects down to the 29 that we looked at, and the exceptional organization that's being done to take care of that. And I'll lead off with one last thing, not on my report. There's somebody missing from the cabinet tonight, and that's Dr. Sim Covington. And that's because he's in Albany, because he was chosen as one of 7 individuals to participate in the inaugural Black Leader Institute for SUNY. And that is for emerging leaders that potentially could become presidents. And so he is that. That was a very, very competitive process. Only 7 candidates chosen, and he was one of them. So congratulations to
Well done,
Dr.
Sim.
That's my report.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Knight. Okay, Nina, no, wait, yes, student trustee Nina, do you have an oral report that you'd like to give?
Yes, so I'm gonna keep it brief for us, but this is Multicultural Week, and we started off the week, students were able to curate their own spice blends, but there's a lot of fun things going on this week. There's a football watch party, there's Asian cuisine tasting, trivia, so a lot of fun things going on this week. Career and resume drop-ins are available with the Academic Advising and Career Transfer Services. This is actually something I just learned about. And I would talk to a couple students about it, and they described their experience as very helpful and informative. And then the Student Athletic Advisory Committee is going to be hosting Field Day on Friday, April 19th, to bring back some good old Laker bonding and friendly competition between the sports teams and some faculty and staff. And then lastly, I would like to highlight Logging Sports is celebrating their 50th anniversary this year, starting in 1974. And despite being a 2-year school, we've won countless awards over the years, and we're one of the top ranked schools in the Northeast. And we're the only 2-year school in the Northeast. As well as, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but Coach Ryan Stagestock, and along with head coaches of Alfred and Paul Smith, created NELA, which is the Northeast Intercollegiate Logging Sports Association. It is modeled after the NCAA and Steel Timber Sports to create a governing body that honors sportsmanship and honors the logging profession and fair gameplay. That is something that over the years we've struggled with. Every competition, there would be new rules. And so this new governing body is going to create specific rules. And we've done, I think, 6 competitions so far under this body, and we have more and more teams joining every single year. And so that is a legacy that FLCC left on the logging sports industry and competition industry. As well as we have our celebration April 13th, which is also our competition day. If you guys want to stop out, it's going to be next to G-Lot, as well as we have alumni coming back, and there's going to be an alumni competition. And that's really exciting. A lot of them are in steel, and they compete around the world, and they're going to be on our campus. Yeah. That is it for that for me.
Questions? Thank you. A busy time.
Oh, very busy
I
time.
just hope everybody has time to study. All right, let's see, ARM. Jeff is not here, Steve is not here, so I assume, do you want to add anything? I don't think there's any, going to be a report on that. Okay, board development, Donna.
Just that it's upcoming, that's all.
Oh, it's upcoming, okay.
We are still hoping to get a meeting together. I don't know if I've missed any emails about having a committee meeting scheduled for the group.
Don has submitted an association report. Do you have anything to add to that, or does anybody have any questions on Don's report? Okay. Foundation, I don't have anything to report, not, okay. NYCCT, Donna, any other?
I just want to remind everyone that April is National Community College Month. There will be a toolkit coming out from ACCT about suggestions for ways that community colleges can get the word out about what they're doing. And NYCCT will also most likely have some suggestions as well about what they might do. So I would just like to encourage the college to find ways to highlight some of the wonderful things we're doing and some of the advocacy that we've done. Look, just from a local perspective. And ACCT is collecting a report from colleges around the country as to who's doing what. So if a lot of people are trying to get op-ed pieces done, I don't know what we might be considering, but some people have talked about getting the governor to do something. Some people have talked about different states might get their governors involved or state legislators to write the op-ed piece or have it written for them. But they're also interested in knowing if the colleges want to share any other information or innovative ideas that they have for celebrating National Community College Awareness Month. Well, it's not even awareness, it's just National Community College Month.
Any questions for Donna? All right, and Student Corp, Trustee Cushman submitted a written report. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Just want to remind folks to fill out the questionnaire for the luncheon. That I think the students are really looking forward to that. It's an opportunity to match us up and be able to do some mentoring at the same time. And plus, I also want to just bring everybody's attention to the fact that the Student Corp did put in a resolution about funding. This is the advocacy that was highlighted in Dr. Nye's report for the additional floor funding. And just if you take a minute and look at his letter, it's really powerful, really, really powerful, heartfelt. And it basically, I hope the governor actually got to read that letter. We've gotten a lot of support from the student advocacy day. So the whole student assembly has been actually advocating for us. That's 4-year and 2-year students. And lastly, I want to just mention that the faculty council have also done a resolution and submitted it. And that was presented at SUNY's board meeting. So I want to thank the faculty for their support, and just as I reflect on what we just heard during the education committee, where we don't have the capacity to serve the students that need these services. This is exactly what it's all about, and we can't, without sustainable funding, it's really hard to make those investments. And it's wonderful to see both students and the faculty joining in on this. So thanks to all of them for their help.
Questions for George? Okay, thank you. At this time, I would like to take a motion to move into executive session. There's no executive session tonight? Oh, we got canceled.
We didn't have, that was just on there.
Okay, my mistake. All right. Then I will ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Wow.
All of that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed for? Yes. All right. Then I would ask everybody that is hungry to join us. There is a food on.